G'day, guys. Welcome to Aussievision. It is Craig here, and I'm joined by my colleagues Fleur and Mark this morning. How are you both?
Bom dia, bien.
Very
Yeah, good
well.
to glad to hear that. We have finally wrapped up the last national final of this year's national final season. It's been a long time coming, and it is Portugal's Festival de Canção, as it is every year. We have a result. It is perhaps the result which I think was widely expected, but still an absolute pleasure to see. The winner of Festival de Canção this year is Yolanda with her song Grito. Guys, I think it's probably fair to say we all saw this coming, but how are you feeling about this? Do you feel this did stand out on the night and it deserves the win? Mark, let's kick off with you this morning.
For sure. Well, look, the first time I listened to all the Festival de Canção songs this year, I was in the car. And the first time I went, whoa, what's that? Was the moment that Jolanda's song came on. And I think that carried over to the performance, both in the semi and tonight. I think it was really a clear standout, both in terms of the song itself. It's really high quality, and that beautiful combination of traditional elements and modern sound that we've come to expect from Portugal, but also the staging. There's a clean, sleek, modern, contemporary staging package to go along with this that I think probably has some room to grow and change between now and May. So yeah, very happy with the result. Head and shoulders probably above the rest, and that was reflected in the overall score at the end of the night.
Yeah. Mark, I'd like to follow up on something you said, just because I'm curious. I noticed you said both just then and in your comments in the ranking that you thought the staging had some room to grow. What sort of things are you guys envisioning? What would you like to see in this before May?
Yeah, look, this may lean towards the kitsch or the hackneyed, but I think that beautiful traditional guitar at the start, it would be beautiful to see that and then transition into that modern, sleek dance package. I also think sort of, the lace masks that the dancers are wearing it's something we've kind of seen done before, and I'm not sure if it's ever really it's never really gotten the response that maybe choreographers and designers want. So let's see them perhaps. Yeah. I don't know. The white's beautiful. Maybe there's color that can be played with when it gets to Malmo.
I actually agree with all that. I will say on the cloth masks, the lace masks, I feel like we've seen them a lot of times at Festival de Canção, but usually not in the act that makes it to Eurovision. So I don't know if I think it might actually be a new thing in May, despite the fact that we're quite familiar with this because we've seen a bunch of acts do it before. But all good points. I agree with all of that. Fleur, what did you think of this? I know you were really excited beforehand. Notably, didn't win the televote. So do you think that was fair? Was that something you were expecting?
I probably didn't expect Leo to do so well in the jury, but we'll get to that later. Yeah, the televote, yeah, I thought, yeah, Zhao was last singer up, and I thought, yeah, that was incredible. I thought the staging was great for that, but we'll talk about that one later as well. Now, I'd like to disagree with Mark on that. I think the fact it's got a white background makes the song stand out more. I think that makes her shine more. If it was colors, I think it would have been a little bit more distracting. I think
That's fair.
I think having it stripped back like that with very, just basic colors, black and white, showcases her more, showcases the song more. And I think with this year, we're going to have so much craziness. I think this is almost perfect. I think having this sort of staging for this song.
Yeah, I think it is very stark and
Yeah.
it stands out with the sort of absence of color
Yeah.
and stuff. But I also agree with Mark. I do think there are things they can do with this before May to
Yeah.
sort of make it stand out even further. Now, Flo, you mentioned Joao, who of course did win the televote this evening. Do you think that was deserved? Was that a clear standout for you in this lineup?
I thought so in the way the running order went. There wasn't many acts that had a lot of going with staging. The two stagings I remember mainly is Yolanda and Zhao. And again, it's simple colors. It was just red, black, and white. Yeah, he had, how many microphones do you want, Zhao? Yes, Sim. But I think having that last after so much. Oh, hang on a minute. Perpetual was before that. Well, that's another one we need to talk about. Yeah, I quite liked his staging. I think he improved his performance from the semi. Again, his vocals weren't exactly on point, but he's got a very different look. I think a lot of people would go for that. So yeah, hence he won.
Yeah, it definitely stood
Yeah.
out. Mark, I guess the most notable thing about the result for Joao was that he won the televote, but then only got about 5 or 6 points from the juries. Do you think that's deserved? Do you think this does sort of lean more public vote, or do you think the juries were missing a trick here?
Well, it definitely leaned more public vote, and I can't say that I'm all that up on Portuguese pop culture. So Jal might be a bigger name or a bigger brand in the country. People might know and like his style and music. It was a captivating staging. It was a bit sort of Interview with a Vampire with those 400 mics facing him at the start. It wasn't for me. To me, it lacked musicality, and that is the one word I always associate with Festival de Canção and Portuguese music. It is always musical in the sense that the performer seems to kind of have it running through their veins, which I'm sure Jal does, but this performance didn't really capture that essence that I really love to see every year at Festival de Canção.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. I want to add something there.
Sorry, Fleur, you were going to add something.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you watched last year, a lot of the acts that did quite well the televote were the ones that didn't get much in the jury at all.
Yeah,
and
there is
a lot of
a big
rock
divide.
Songs had done well in the televote, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, this was sort of the only act that fell into that sort of niche, I think, this
exactly.
year. On the other hand of the scale, we did have Buba, who I love. I was a big fan of Buba before we saw this. And he did very well with the jury and then sort of got dogged by the public. Mark, again, do you think that's fair? Do you think that the public was really missing something here? I think they were. So
yeah, I think they were missing something. I really liked it too, Craig. I thought it's the most sort of warm and delightful performance, actually. And he sort of reminded me, the first time I saw him was in the green room last week, and he kind of gave off this sort of, I don't know, nerdy librarian, university lecturer, like the professor from Money Heist, that sort of vibe. And the performance was that, but it was really sweet and embracing. So yeah, he was definitely up there for me, and that was disappointing, I guess, that he didn't get the support of the public he might have liked. But come back. There's plenty more Festival of Cançãos to come. If there's been 60 already, there may be 60 more.
We can but hope. And certainly I think the other way of looking at it is that, yes, the public maybe didn't do as well with him, but the juries meant that he still did well at the end of the day. And so it was good to see him at the top end of the scoreboard. I think very well deserved. Fleur, do you have any comments on Buba?
I always thought this was more of a jury song than a televote song, so I'm not surprised. Again, song is nice, and that's pretty much all I can say. I mean, I like the song, but I can see why it didn't do well with the televotes.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Now, one other song I want to highlight. He did well with both sides, both the televote and the jury, and I know he's a big favorite for all three of us. Let's talk about Leo. Leo is from Brazil, and sometimes the Brazilian acts don't always go well with the Portuguese public, but he really did, and he did well. Got a really solid number of points from the juries as well. Mark, tell me about Leo. Are you eloping with him next week? Or
well, Leo doesn't know this, but Leo's my boyfriend. Also, my boyfriend doesn't know Leo is my boyfriend. So, it's going to be difficult for both of us, I guess. I mean, I think I put in the Aussievision rankings. He just is charisma personified. It just oozes from him. It's the smile, his demeanor, the way he holds himself in interviews and on stage. It's such a delightful song. And I think it's a shame that it doesn't get to go to Eurovision, only because I think it may have surprised in sort of a refreshing kind of palate cleanser kind of way, that in stark contrast to the madness that we're expecting in Malmö, this is going to be, or this would have been, like a breath of fresh air. But I hope he gets to come back. I hope he comes back with a similar energy, that sort of percussive Brazilian sound in the chorus that makes you just want to get on the feet or dance in the street. I really think that there's a big future for Leo in this audience, and hopefully at Eurovision eventually.
100%. Like, very well said. Fleur, is there anything you wanted to add on Leo?
Yeah, I was going to say, Mark said, I was going to say exuberance personified, and he's just living his best life. He was more animated this time. He's up there having a great time. And yeah, I think I'd like to invite him over to Australia. We can all have a drink with him. I'm sure he tells us lovely things about Brazil. Just seems like he seems so genuine.
Yeah, 100%. I think my one thing here, next year, if he does come back, I'd love to see him come back. Maybe come back with more of a staging budget, because the one thing was that it's very much just him on stage, and he he's enough. Don't get me wrong. This performance was he sold this performance.
Yeah.
But if he can have other things going on as well, that's what could lift this to the next level to potentially get him over the line to Eurovision in another year. Mark, I sense you have something to say.
I was just going to say very much that. And if the animated dancers that were on the projection screen behind him had been physical dancers, it would have communicated even more that sort of sense of, party and atmosphere that I think it was trying to capture. So, yeah, spot on.
Before we finish up, guys, just wanted to see if there's any other acts that you guys would like to highlight or, throw a few positive comments to about this evening's lineup. Fleur.
Perpetua. I was kind of shocked that was the same group we saw in semi-final one. I was like, hang on, who's this? Oh my God, it's them? Really? She's had a makeover. Oh, hang on. This whole thing sounds 50% better than what it did in the semi. Like, that was bewildering, absolute glow up. I can't even describe it. I was just shocked when I saw it.
Can't disagree. A few weeks can really make a big change there, I think, and you could definitely did for them. Mark, what about you? Any other acts you'd like to highlight?
I mean, very much that. I really did take a double take when the lead singer came on. They went from, like, last week, they were like Mayim Bialik, the actress in Big Bang Theory, and this time it was like Mayim Bialik hosting Celebrity Jeopardy, if that means anything to anyone at home. Yeah, it was a real transformation. I just, it's such a great contest. Every year, it's something new. Like the song last week, Hooker, am I pronouncing that right? HCA.
Absolutely,
I agree. That was completely robbed.
Hookah was just a beautiful number that transported me to obviously somewhere other than Portugal, but infused with that sort of multicultural flair that we come to expect. So I look forward to it every time, and I always look forward to seeing what happens in the big dance, because it can go one of two ways, really, can't it?
100%. Very well said. And also, you've really captured a lot of what I love about this national final as well. Particularly the multiculturalism. I always feel like, even though there's always a very strong Portuguese flavor, I feel like RTP always does a really good job of getting, there's a few Brazilian acts. You'll often get some acts from like Angola or Mozambique appearing, or the Caribbean. And like, it's those infusions of different sort of authentic cultures that I really makes this leap out to me and really makes us sing. Now, guys, I have a very quick question for you. Before we finish up, and we've got Yolanda. We're going to Eurovision in May. I don't necessarily want to hear like a big song and dance about how she's going to go, but I'd love to hear a prediction about where you think she could land, either in the semi-final or, if she makes it, where she might end up in the grand final. Fleur.
I think we spoke about this on Thursday night, but I think she will be a borderline qualifier only because she's in semi-final one. We've got some hard hitters there. Plus, you've got the three Balkan nations there. They're going through. I think this is going to be maybe 8th, 9th, 10th qualifier. Goes to the grand final. The juries are going to lap this up, and I think this could even go top 10.
Yeah, fair. Mark, what about you?
Yeah, very much an Estonia 2023 story. I think just needs to get through the semis. If it gets through the semis, the juries will eat it up. And there isn't a lot like it in terms of, it's sort of a mid-tempo ballad, I guess, but it's got that modern sort of underscoring beat. I think that, very much the left-hand side on the final night, if it gets through. And I really think that's a strong if. I'm not sure I prescribe to the semi-final of death stuff that a lot of people are talking about, but just does it have enough appeal to the crowd on a semi-final evening? I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I really agree with that. I don't know if I see it as a semi-final of death either. And the other thing is that I think there's an assumption, and perhaps it's an oversimplification, that like televoters vote for fun stuff and juries vote for ballads. Whereas we have plenty of evidence that televoters will happily vote for a good ballad and juries will give points to something more fun. Cha 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 came 4th in the jury last year. So I think I see this as potentially doing very well. I agree. I don't know if I'd put it as a certain qualifier, but I certainly think it's got a good shot. And if it does get through, then it's going to do very well on the final night. Anyway, thank you both for joining me. It's been a very long national final season, and this was a delightful way to wrap it up on this Sunday morning. Let us know what you think of Yolanda and her song in the comments, and we will see you very soon for more chat about Eurovision 2024. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.